Good evening, my dear expats. And in the previous video, now we understood who must deliver the income tax return. And now let's focus on the second case, who are willingly filing taxes. So for that, it's called vrijwillig veranlagt, and who, after all, will benefit from filing taxes. And as a general rule of thumb, from my experience, I would say anyone who has the option to file taxes should also deliver the tax return. And why? Because generally, even if you do it and in the tax confirmation or inkomenssteuerbescheid, it says that you must pay taxes back, you can still take it away. You can retract yourself from delivering the tax return as if nothing happened because you don't have the duty to do so. Now let's go on some specific cases under which for sure you will get a handsome tax compensation. So people who are in the tax classes 1, 2, and 4, and also the sole earners in the tax class 3 are generally not obliged to pay income taxes to make a statement. But irrespective of this, it is often advantageous to voluntarily submit the tax return, which is called application assessment. And if at least some of the following applies, then you have a good chance to receive a tax return. This is called in German freiwillige Veranlagung. And if at least some of the following points apply, then you have a good chance to receive a tax compensation. So if the income-related expenses, or in German called Werbungskosten, are above the employee allowance of 1,000 euros, then it is often the case when the company, for example, is more than 15 kilometers away from your house. Also, if the home office flat rate or Corona home office pauschale apply to you, and you can deduct this 600 euros per year for the years 2020, 2021, and also now for 2022, then it might be so as well. What else? If you have some Werbungskosten relating, for example, the expenses for running 2 households, for any type of Fortbildungskosten or training costs, for example, for accompanying education in a university that you are taking together with your work, if you possess a so-called Arbeitszimmer or working room. What else? If you can claim higher insurance premiums as well as other special expenses or Sonderausgaben, which are above the rather low flat rate or pauschale of 36 and 72 euros for people that are a couple, for example, for church tax, for donations, and for the initial vocational training, meaning Erste Berufsausbildung. Following up, if you want a reimbursement from the tax office for higher medical expenses as expected, which are in the official term called außergewöhnliche Belastungen or exceptional loads involved, for example, for the support of needy relatives or for other type of emergency cost. One more, and pay attention to this one because it will fit a lot of your situations if you were not employed for the whole calendar year. Meaning, for example, for all of the expats who came mid-year, for example, in July or in August or in September, or you were here before, but you did not start working directly by coming here. So you spent, for example, some 6 months of the year studying the master degree, delivering your master thesis, and then you started working, let's say in August or in September. It doesn't really matter. Why is that such case? Because normally in Germany, you are paying for each month the income taxes that are relevant for the full year. They are simply divided by 12. So for sure, if you start working mid-year, then you will get some tax return because the whole taxes are accounted only for one part of the year. So meaning that you are gonna probably receive, since you get the same tax breaks, the same free tax breaks, then you're gonna receive the part that you paid too much. What else do we have here? Another precious one relevant for a lot of your situations, expats. If you marry in between the year, same as if you come to Germany or you begin working mid-year, it's also a great benefit if you deliver the tax return. Probably you are going to get a good tax compensation. Why is such case? Because you were up to the moment where you were married as an Einzelveranlagte person. So you were delivering your taxes along with your sole income. Now, when you marry, you come into the tax class for spouses, which are either 3, 4, or 5, and then at once you are now taxed for both of your income, so you get double as much tax breaks. Even better if you now have the birth of your child or multiple children on the same year. So what now happens in the end is that all of the taxes that both you and your spouse were paying too much as single people, now since you come into this splitting tariff, now become compensated into your income tax return. And now for this, it comes also with an advice for you. If you're planning to marry in any such year, now in, for example, 2022 or 2023, make sure that it happens at best before the end of the year. So meaning, for example, in November or in October, so that you can quickly change the tax class if you are both registered in the same household, and for that, changing directly into another better taxes and then being able to deliver the income tax return for the full year. And as well, the same, if you happen to divorce, make sure that you at least leave one more day of the full calendar year with your spouse so that you can deliver the next year the income tax return together as this zusammenveranlagung. Besides, if you can claim expenses for domestic help, tradesmen, or handymen, and other types of services in private households, in German this is called Haushaltsnahe Aufwendungen, then a lot of these costs are subsidized in the tax declaration. What, for example, come as stair cleaning, and also the caretaker, what else is winter services, the occupation of the trash, which are incurred in many households, or, for example, for gardening as well. The full list is, of course, available in our X courses. And finally, if you have to offset losses from different types of income or transfer to other years, meaning in German what is called Verluste, Verlustvorträge and Verlustrücktrag. So if it comes to the case, for example, where you have interest losses or also investment losses, meaning Verluste von Kapitalgewinne or Verluste von Zinsen, then it can still be worth to file the tax return. For example, if your marginal tax rate is below the 25%, which is the capital gain tax, then such case would apply. And it is relevant to interest, dividends, profits, and other types of capital gains. And to conclude, when you can claim childcare costs for your child who is not yet 14 years old, then these expenses are, of course, deductible under a certain threshold, under certain conditions, as special expenses. So this in German is called Kinderbetreuungskosten. And there is a limit, but still it is worth it. So to wrap it up, my dear expats, what you could extract from this video is that under a large number of situations, it will for sure be worth it to wage the step of delivering your tax returns. If you look at the coming videos in this course, and with them you understand what exactly are all of the deductible expenses you can insert into your income tax return, and also how you can do so, both understanding how it works in theory and also going directly to the practice.